All right. Welcome, everybody, to the 27th Annual Be Your Own Boss Bowl. Thank you all for joining. Great to see so many of you here. We are not starting soon. We are starting now. We have some wonderful presentations to get through tonight. We have four presentations from the undergraduate track and four presentations from the upper track, which includes or was open to both graduate students, alumni, staff, and faculty. So thank you all for being here. We really hope that you get something out of tonight. If you are interested in speaking with any of our presenters, they will hang around afterwards. I am going to try and keep things moving. My name is Neil Johnston. If I have not met you, please come and find me afterwards. I serve as the Director of Accelerator Programs here at the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Institute. This is our space. We are so glad that you are here. And again, looking forward to a wonderful night. Throughout the night, you will see a QR code both on your table as well as here. We will try and take some breaks throughout so that you can vote for your favorite for the People's Choice Award. That will be given out at the end. You are welcome to share this link with your friends and family as well, so please do so. We have some wonderful presenters that have shared this far and wide, so definitely please feel free to do so. You will see this throughout the presentation, again, as well as kind of scattered on the tables throughout the space. I wanted to acknowledge a few partners that we could not do this event without. And so we have a couple of different sponsored awards that we will give out at the end of this evening. The Institute for Business and Information Technology is sponsoring the Digital Innovation Award. We are sponsoring the Global Innovation Award in partnership with our friends at Cyber across the way over at Alter Hall. The Blackstone Launchpad, Jennifer is here. She will tell you all about the I-Core Award. And then the Center for Ethics, Diversity, and Workplace Culture is presenting the Access and Opportunity Award. So we have some really great awards, specialty awards that you will want to hang around for at the end as well. This event and all of this could not have been possible without some amazing volunteers. I'm going to roll through a couple of slides. And then at the end, if your name appeared on any of those slides, or if, God forbid, I left you off of those slides and you did volunteer, I'm going to ask you to stand up and be acknowledged. But this is not just tonight. We asked our submitters to prepare some written documents, a presentation, some financial models, an executive summary, all kinds of great things. And they were prepped for that with some workshops that we held ahead of time. And so the two speakers that you see on the screen right now spoke at our workshops. They helped kind of get our students ready for different aspects of the presentation. So we want to acknowledge Dr. Idris Abdul Hamid and Michael McBride. There are more people as we go throughout, but you will see these expert mentors that you see on the screen. They were folks that volunteered, especially their evenings, kind of leading up to that deadline for any of our presenters or submitters that had last minute questions or wanted to kind of go over anything right before the submission deadline. So thank you to our expert mentors. We had a ton of reviewers. This is the biggest one. You're definitely going to need binoculars to see those. But these are people that looked through all of the written submissions. Many of them looked at 3, 4, 5 different written submissions and gave them scores to help narrow down who would be our finalists. So thank you to our reviewers. And then I think last but not least, for our finalists, we had wonderful pitch coaches that volunteered their time last week to sit down for an hour with our finalists, go through their presentation, share what maybe worked well, what maybe didn't work well, and all that stuff. So I think those are all of our volunteers, with the exception of some of 3 very special people that are to my left in just a second. But if you were one of the people that were on the previous slides, can you please stand or raise your hand and be recognized? Thank you all so much. Big round of applause. Again, we could not have done it without you. So this is a live pitch event, which means that we have live and in-person judges, which is very cool. I want to acknowledge the 3 folks that are sitting right here. So Katie Gerst is a professor and deputy chair in the Department of Marketing. She also serves as the academic director of the Fox Honors Program. When you answer your phone, is that what you have to say? All that? Okay. Hi, this is Katie. That's great. She regularly teaches courses in business communications, integrated marketing communications, and digital marketing. And she also led study abroad courses in Italy, Spain, Portugal, and Morocco. Please give it up for Katie. Thank you for being here. You will also see Zach James. Zach is a proud SDHM graduate and sports industry professional turned entrepreneur in 2015. As head of Rebel Hill Consulting, Zach uses his sales and marketing expertise to help other entrepreneurs grow their businesses. Over the past 10 years, Rebel Hill has provided strategic marketing, sales training, branding services, and content creation to over 150 entrepreneurs, nonprofits, and companies. And most importantly, he is a 2024 inductee to Temple's Gallery of Success. Zach, thank you for being here. And last but not least, Jake Voorhees is a sports technology innovator, a startup ecosystem builder, and consultant. He is a co-founder of Sports Business Leaders, a community of 1,000 plus sports innovators, an event series hosted in 8 cities. He did not write this, but I will also give a shameless plug. Jake and his team appeared on Shark Tank. I don't know the exact season. I'm sure he would be willing to tell you, but if you want to go see his pitch, please go look that up. He was on Shark Tank. Please give it up for Jake Voorhees. People's Choice. There it is again. If you haven't scanned it and need to, you can just bookmark that page. I know you haven't seen any yet, so you couldn't possibly have a favorite, but this is the code that you will be seeing. So without any further ado, I am going to introduce our first set of speakers. The next 4 presentations that you will hear are from the undergraduate track. And the first up is Barricade, presented by Liana DeMarco from the Tyler School of Art and Architecture, graduating in just a few short days. Liana, take it away.
Thank you. Hello. Sick. Awesome. Hello, everyone. I am Liana DeMarco, founder and creative director of Barricade. We create earplugs for concert goers that not only serve as amazing protection, but also are really stylish. If you're anything like me, you love live music. Me personally, I love anything, whether it is a tiny DIY show or a huge stadium tour. But every time I would leave a show, my ears would be absolutely wrecked and ringing all night into the next morning. And of course, I wish I would have remembered to wear earplugs. But let's be real, all the other options out there either make me look like I am working construction or they completely block out the sound, which completely defeats the purpose of wearing earplugs in the first place. I also didn't realize just how much damage it was actually doing to my hearing. The average concert's noise level ranges from 100 to 120 decibels, enough to cause irreparable damage to your hearing in less than 15 minutes. That is like standing directly next to a jackhammer for an hour straight with no audio protection, and it is truly not worth losing your hearing permanently over a bad cover band. As I mentioned, those foam, like Home Depot earplugs are super wasteful and ineffective, and the higher end ones are really expensive and sterile. Earplugs have a branding problem. They're seen as uncool and forgettable, so people just skip them completely. But that's where Barricade comes in. We create earplugs that not only serve as amazing protection, they're also an extension of your personal style. They make earplugs a statement piece rather than an afterthought. And our earplugs don't just look great. They use 3 levels of audio filtration to target low, mid, and high frequencies to keep the sound super clear, but just safer for prolonged exposure. And since hearing protection should be fun, we plan to partner with artists and venues and festivals to create custom designs. For example, our proposed Charlie XCX and Grateful Dead earplugs are a great example because they're super cool, fun, and collectible. And the opportunity is huge. There is around 145 million annual concert goers in the US alone. And Gen Z and millennials in particular are spending more on tickets and attending more live shows than ever. They also care deeply about wellness, style, and sustainability, and Barricade is meant to fit those needs. And as I mentioned, there is a huge opportunity for potential revenue. Just targeting 1% of our target demographic would give us $10.4 million in potential revenue. And to further validate demand, I surveyed 125 concert goers. While 60% rarely or never wear earplugs, 85% said they would be interested if they were designed to be stylish. So that's the space that Barricade would fill. As I mentioned, those foam earplugs are disposable, totally forgetful, and higher end ones like Loop, Eargasm, and Vibes, they are great quality, but they really lack that stylish quality. And Barricade delivers on both of those, and it's also competitively priced at $30 So it's the obvious choice when shopping for earplugs. And in order to have a successful first year, we are asking for $100,000 for production, marketing, and early stage growth. And this is exactly how we would plan to grow. We would focus on venue and festival partnerships to get our product in the hands of people who need them the most directly. And we also have a direct consumer option online and limited retail presence as well. And this is exactly how we plan to scale. We hope to have presence in 10 music venues across the US in our first phase, and also start up with those small artist collabs. And in phase 2, we hope to expand to 2 larger festivals like Coachella or Hinterland, and also have retail presence in 25 stores. And in phase 3, we hope for mainstream adoption to be a part of standard rider agreements for artists, and also expand into major retailers like Urban Outfitters and Guitar Center. And our financial model shows that we are built to grow. We retail for $30, and our cost of goods sold is $5.30, which gives us an awesome margin. We end up net positive in year 1, and then by year 3, we are set for over $1 million in revenue. And the big takeaways for our potential investors that may just be out there tonight: we have a 100% ROI option in 2.5 years. And as I mentioned, we have that cash flow is positive in year 3, and we have that explosive growth. Or by year 1, we have cash flow positive in year 1, and by year 3, we have that expansive growth. As you can see by our chart, we only plan to go up. And as for our development, we already have a 3D model created. In prototype 2, we would really focus on user testing and getting our product perfect. And then prototype 3 would be our final go-to-market, and we would solidify those manufacturers and get everything set. And if all of our testing and certification goes well, we would be set to launch in concert season 2026. And I am Liana DeMarco. I am a graphic design and illustration major here at Tyler. My background is in branding, design, and storytelling. So this has been like such a cool opportunity to kind of intersect all of those things. But I also have some awesome advisors with expertise in startups, branding, social media, marketing, and even audiology. So they have been an absolutely amazing help. I hope to grow my team further down the line with a marketing person, operations, and sales as well. But at the end of the day, Barricade is all about unabashed self-expression. And we hope to create a culture where protecting your hearing isn't, protecting your hearing isn't just cool, it is responsible and awesome as well. I am Liana DeMarco, and that is Barricade. Thank you.
Liana, thank you so much. Judges, we have about 3 minutes of time after each presentation for questions. So judges, do you have any questions for Liana?
Great presentation.
Thank you so much.
Great presentation. Thanks for starting it off strong.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I have gone to a fair share of concerts, and yes, it's loud, and at times where I might have a headache, I just kind of don't go.
Yeah.
So I know there's folks who might be more sensitive to sound, maybe just don't attend, and this could be a way to kind of get them involved. But what I am familiar with is I used to work in a stadium, and most of the issues sound-wise were from children. You sometimes see kids with the big, headphones on, and they're, in my opinion, too young to be there anyway.
Right.
But children of all ages sometimes complain that it's too loud, or they want to leave, or that. So I'm curious if you have any thought process or plan towards that market, because I think it's pretty significant. It also is in stadiums where they have a lot of concerts. They have smaller ears, so there's probably a change there. Clearly, the branding, they're not wearing Grateful Dead. They're going to want Dora Dora. But just wanted to know your thoughts towards that as a potential market, and if there's plans towards that.
I'd be super interested in that. I think kids especially love style and love to be expressive, so I could totally see that kind of intersecting. And even over ear earplugs, or earphones, I should say, just putting an attachment on top of them and kind of adding that star motif, I feel would be super fun and kind of incentivize young people to wear hearing protection as well. So thank you so much for that question.
Yeah, great job. Great use case. I've also been to a lot of shows. I totally get it. Performance side, spectator side. I'm really curious about manufacturing. So you have, especially because you have the customization options. Can you tell us more about how you'd be making these? What is your plan for that?
Totally. It's very early stage right now, but I would be looking mostly at manufacturers that kind of already make earplugs because we really do prioritize that that quality. So I think that's the avenue I would probably look towards the most, and then kind of adding like that extension of our designs like on top of it. So yeah, that is. But yeah, very early stages in that department.
I'm curious about the price point.
Yeah.
Because you did mention how much more money Gen Z and millennials are spending on concerts.
Totally.
Considering how expensive concerts are, can they
Yeah.
afford a $30 pair of earplugs, especially considering how low the cost of goods sold is?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, I mean, like judging by the market, like everything that is like comparable to our quality is higher price point. And when I did my survey, it was mostly Gen Z and young people, and that is such a pain point that concerts are so expensive. So I think just considering that, like we did try to lower that margin, but I would be interested in like once we solidify that manufacturer, making it even lower price would be a cool option as well, especially for young people, because it's hard. Yeah, so it's definitely a great
Disposable
consideration.
income isn't as high in that age.
Yeah. Oh,
So
I get it.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Sick.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I neglected to mention one piece of housekeeping. Just for the flow of the evening, if you do need to step out and use the restroom or take a phone call, restrooms are right past this first TV screen right here. But if you want to go where this exit sign is kind of in the middle of our space, it will take you around back by our faculty offices, and you can exit through this door. That way we can kind of keep the flow of the evening going. We'll now move on to our next presenter from the Klein School. We have LB Vision from Michaela.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Well, hello everyone. Thank you for coming out. I'm Michaela Wally, and this is LB Vision. Our mission is to restore independence for the visually impaired. LB Vision will be the first technologically advanced eyewear, enabling safe driving for individuals with 30% or more visual field. Our why. I'll never forget watching someone I cared about struggle with things that most of us take for granted. What stood out the most was the one thing they knew they'd never be able to do: drive. No matter how independent they were in every other way, that one limitation was a constant reminder that the world just wasn't built for people like them. My friend, born with albinism, faced this reality every day. Simple tasks like crossing the street or reading menus were challenges, but losing the freedom to drive was the deepest cut, a constant reminder of dependence in a world built for the fully sighted. There's a significant unmet need here. 8% of the US, which is over 25 million Americans alone, suffer from visual impairments that restrict driving, unemployment, and social integration. Aging populations, which is over 11 million with macular degeneration, face mobility loss as their vision declines. In Philadelphia alone, there are 4.3% of our population that live with visual impairments. That's almost 54,000 adults. To put that in perspective, that's enough people to fill Lincoln Financial Field to capacity. LB Vision's technology is a one adaptive system with two life-changing applications, one being our goggles. They offer a variety of features such as real-time edge enhancement using our proprietary algorithm, depth measurement with real-time distance mapping, 6-degree head tracking for full lean and movement support versus the limited 3-degree. Night vision enhancement, amplifying low light visibility and adapts to glare conditions, and our highlighting tool that adds colored outlines to key objects and persons. This is a quick side-by-side comparison showing what someone with 30% vision sees without our goggles versus the potential using our technology. Now for our kit. LB Vision's kit is designed for smart vehicles from 2017 onward. Our kit creates a 360 safety net with cameras and sensors wrapping completely around the vehicle to eliminate blind spots. LB's kit will seamlessly integrate with our goggles via Bluetooth, projecting real-time enhancement data customized to match the user's visual needs. Why LB wins? We're the first to market driving enablement to individuals with 30% or more visual field. We're also all-in-one adaptive tech. Our competitors focus on single features only. We also are built with user feedback. LB is designed by and for the visually impaired. Our competitors such as eSight, OrCam, and Driving with Bioptics offer partial fixes, but none fully enable driving to this community like LB Vision. On average, can anyone tell me how much individuals with visually impairments spend on Uber and other means of transportation yearly? It's okay, I wasn't quite sure either. But it can run you as much as $8,000 and higher in areas with limited accessible public transit. LB Vision wants to reduce dependency on expensive ride-sharing apps. We want affordable, accessible, and consistent transportation. LB Vision wants to give back independence to this population, allowing them to save money and access essential services without financial strain. So you must be wondering, what does something like this cost to make? After careful estimating and breakdowns of our components, manufacturing for our goggles will be on the low end of about $670 and the high end of $930. LB's distribution strategy is intentionally phased to align with our growth, regulatory clearance, and market readiness. In phase one, we're targeting clinical and regulatory channels, low vision rehab centers that are trusted by ophthalmologists and can prescribe LB as a medical aid. We'll generate revenue through bulk orders to clinics paired with training programs for practitioners. We're also focusing on VA hospitals and military medical centers, since there's over 2.7 million visually impaired veterans in the US. These institutions often have funding for adaptive tech, and they're aligned with our mission of accessibility. And then finally, DMV-affiliated driving schools are strong early channels. These schools require adaptive devices for visually impaired drivers to get certified, and LB Vision could become part of that standard. Now for phase two, we're scaling through strategic business-to-business partnerships. First, by bundling our tech into adaptive vehicle packages with auto OEMs, and then finally targeting aging in place networks, AARP, senior living communities, and Silver Sneaks. These are powerful distribution hubs that are already catering to our users who benefit from enhanced vision and navigation tools. Now looking ahead, our goggles are universal tools designed to work with a wide range of vehicles that already have the necessary systems and tech in place. By forming partnerships with some of these automotive leaders, that will help us scale faster and integrate our technology even more deeply into the driving experience. After conducting an initial survey with 50 low vision respondents, 82% of individuals cited driving as their primary barrier of independence. As we stated earlier, there are 2.2 million individuals in the US with visual field limitations. This doesn't account for macular degeneration, glaucoma, or diabetic retinopathy. That is more than 13 billion in potential market opportunity. A top focus in our priority segment is low vision teens and adults. They value independence and are most willing to pay to drive safely. Our fastest growing segment would be the aging population. As vision declines with age, older adults are seeking tools to stay mobile and independent. So we're asking for $100,000. This will help us with product development and finalizing our algorithm and our final prototype. Also hiring our engineers, software developers, and having an on-staff ophthalmologist. 15% towards marketing, and 15% towards legal and regulatory fees, since we're well aware that legal requirements and regulations will vary state to state, especially since LB Vision is introducing a completely new concept to the road. We're a dual revenue stream, so there'll be a $3,500 one-time hardware fee. Then users will subscribe to a monthly plan starting at $149 per month, covering ongoing software updates and 24/7 support with our agents. This is a quick 5-year projected sales. So in 2025 and 2026, we really want to target on working on finalizing our algorithm and pushing out that final product. So by 2029, we're pushing out at least 3,000 units. As you can see, we broke it down by hardware revenue and subscription revenue. And I just want to leave you all with this quote that the best investments don't just make money, they make history. So LB Vision will see you all in the history books. Thank you for your time, and now I'll answer any questions you all may have.
Thank you, Michaela. Questions from our judges?
Great job. Definitely a big problem. I'm curious what thoughts you have around a few industry threats like Microsoft HoloLens, and then being able to just roll out something that can exist for that product, or the big boom in driverless cars, where we might be in a situation where you don't need an additional product. The car just does it all. So I'm curious if you have, what thoughts you have about that.
Right. Definitely. That's a great question. I think that's what we're selling here at LB, that this isn't a self-driving car, that they would be in control of the vehicle. So we're giving back that independence and giving them that freedom and autonomy back, not just, a self-driving car would, where, their hands are back and, they want to feel like they're in control of their life and, behind the wheel of their life.
First, who are you looking at to manufacture?
Our goggles?
Yeah.
Well, I guess behind just the shaping of them, or great question. Honestly, I think there's a few that manufacturers you could look to. You have Sony, Oculus, places like that, that are getting a lot of things, internationally shipped in. So nowhere that is like I'm dead set on right now, but keeping my options open.
Can you explain a little bit more? You kept mentioning your algorithm.
Mhm.
Can you explain that?
Right. So we're just working, it's not finalized. I'm still in the works, obviously, but working through open source code. So like CV, a lot of similar technology that places like Tesla Vision use, things like that.
Yeah, and great job. Are you envisioning this being something that visually is similar to like the Oculus or the Sony glasses, or something a little more sleek
Right.
like this?
So I do want it to be sleek and comfortable for user experience, but you still have to think of, you want this product able so individuals can have their, glasses on underneath and or contacts, whatever form of prescription they need for their eyes. So I think it has to be bulky enough to enable that kind of usage, but you also want it to be comfortable and not something too heavy on the user. So
Yeah, I definitely want you to focus on that. I have an Oculus and I won't play it for much more than 45
exactly.
minutes.
Right.
And we're thinking an older population using this.
Right.
So their neck might not be as strong or whatever. So the weight of it, I think, is going to be a very big factor in it being actually adopted and people using it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. One more round of applause for Michaela.
Thank you.
I will trade you your prototype for the slide advancer. Thank you so much. Next up, we have from the Fox School of Business, introducing Samantha Solomon, who's here to tell us about No Title.
Hello, I'm Samantha, and I'm the founder of No Title, a sustainable fashion e-commerce marketplace platform that sells affordable, size-inclusive clothing. In one store, we bring together artists and sustainable fashion brands to create a curated hub for stylish, eco-conscious clothing. Meet Ace, an 18-year-old high school student soon to enter college. He is transgender, plus size, has autism that causes him sensory issues, and most importantly, he is my best friend. For Ace, due to a lot of clothing in stores not being made for him, what should be an enjoyable shopping experience becomes something he dreads. Unfortunately, we've heard countless similar stories when talking to people in our focus groups and during our customer discovery process. This is a problem that many different people of different backgrounds that not just Ace faces every day. Inclusivity in the fashion industry remains flawed, as demonstrated by more than 50% of US women ages 18 to 65 wearing a size 14 or higher, yet most designers tending to stop at a size 12 or 14, meaning clothing made today isn't made with much of the population in mind. The negative environmental impacts of the fashion industry is also apparent, with 92 million tons of textile waste produced each year. Solutions today fail to address all of these problems at the same time. A lot of sustainable clothing stores today are often not affordable, and if they are, they're even less likely to be size inclusive, causing sustainable clothing today to be highly inaccessible to many. Clothing must be affordable so everyone can access it. It must be sustainable because the fashion industry has detrimental effects to our environment. And it must be size inclusive because everyone should be able to enjoy fashion, and people will not buy clothes if it does not fit them. These issues must be addressed simultaneously because they're all within the supply chain. But it doesn't have to be this way. Meet No Title, an e-commerce marketplace platform dedicated to selling environmentally sustainable, size-inclusive, affordable clothing. It offers customers a curated collection of sustainable brands to shop from on one website. We provide new sustainable clothing, meaning recycled and upcycled clothing as opposed to secondhand, allowing for innovation and new trends to continue without the unsustainable effects of fast fashion. At the same time, mitigating the problems people have with secondhand fashion. We are selective about the sellers who sell on our platform, and sellers must be affordable, meaning selling items that are $5 to $50. They must be sustainable, meaning utilizing recycled or upcycled materials to make clothing, and they must have turban cutting initiatives. They also must be size inclusive, meaning utilizing a diverse range of models to market and represent the brand, and they must sell clothes in sizes small to 4XL. Here's the market size for No Title. We'll start with a focused niche audience aligned with our target market and their spending habits. Then we will scale by leveraging our unique value proposition to reach a broader market. At the same time, the market for plus-size clothing is expanding rapidly. Here's a likely customer who would buy from No Title. There's someone who loves trendy clothing, is conscientious about societal issues, needs convenience, and is usually someone ages 12 to 30 or is a Gen Z or millennial. Here's the value we provide to sellers on our platform. We provide them with marketing assistance and better discoverability, lower fees and listing prices than all our competitors, and a specialized community to sellers. What differentiates us from competitors is we are a time and money saver, and most importantly, a community for sustainable clothing brands that stand stronger together. Our secret sauce that differentiates us is being a marketplace platform that, unlike any other online marketplaces, is we curate a sustainable clothing brands that are affordable and size inclusive, all on one site, making shopping from these brands easier. Other sustainable clothing brands are not our competitors, but are our collaboration that collectively strengthens us. We have a prominent section on our platform where people can learn more about the creators of the art and the sellers on our platform. This is so brands can be transparent, showing off their sustainability specs and where they can tell their story. Here is our revenue streams. We have listing fees, sales commissions, add-ons, and sales on the artist collections. We operate under a hybrid revenue model as a retailer and as a platform. We choose this to diversify our sources of revenue and to be able to still make substantial revenue in the beginning, as in the beginning, we expect to have fewer sustainable clothing brands to charge a sales commission on. We're a retailer because we collaborate with artists to make clothing with their designs, which we hold inventory of. And we're also an e-commerce platform, meaning we collaborate with sustainable clothing brands and let them sell on our site, getting a sales commission on each item sold and an initial one-time listing fee on each item they list. Currently, we've raised $2,500, but to be able to cover startup and cost of goods for our artist collections and operating expenses, and to be able to optimize our website and comfortably scale our operations, in the beginning, we asked for $60,000. Here's our financial projections. Our first fiscal year will start in November of 2025, when we officially launch with our first artist collection. Conservatively, our net profits are expected to be in year one, $6,000, year two, $65,000, and in year three, $100,000. Right now, we are at the collaborator outreach stage, as indicated by this red arrow here. We have partnered with 3 artists to make designs for our first artist collection, and we have made samples of these. We've also launched our beta website and have started interviewing potential sellers for our platform. Here's our team. Hey, my name is Samantha, and I'm the founder of No Title. And I'm an honors economics student at the Fox School of Business at Temple University. And here's Isel, my manager of operations, majoring in business management, also at the Fox School of Business. And here are our advisors to the left. Together, we can build a future where sustainable fashion is the norm. Here's how you can support us in this journey. Thank you.
Samantha, thank you so much. Great job. Questions from our judges?
Great job. Definitely a huge problem. It's a very popular topic at within most innovation communities and pitch events. It's a big industry problem where I don't see the incentivization from the company level to where unless something saves them money, saves them time, saves the industry a headache. So I'm always looking for that blend into the solution. So outside of providing great opportunities for your sellers and a really good go-to-market strategy, I'm curious what thoughts you might have on integrating that. How can you chip away at making industry progress, incentivizing the companies to have them cut their costs down or save time, something like this? I'm really curious about your thoughts there.
Said incentivizing, what is it exactly?
The industry doesn't want to make change. It's just like the plastics recycling industry, where unless the companies want to be better and it saves them money, saves them time, saves them frustration, alleviates frustration, it's really, really tough to tackle this massive problem that everybody knows is a big deal. So I'm just curious how you might be able to blend in those types of solutions into your company.
So there are already a lot of sustainable clothing brands. We find that a big problem they're facing is being able to reach more audience. So having this platform will give these brands a way to be able to reach more people.
What is your initial marketing strategy to drive traffic to your site?
Great question. I'm glad you asked it. So first off, we'll definitely be utilizing social media, grassroots marketing, in-person events, definitely influencer marketing. We know that's a big thing within especially the clothing market, and pretty much, yeah. Awesome.
One more round of applause. Thank you, Samantha.
Literally, I thought you were gonna.
Right, we are getting ready for our final undergraduate presenter. I feel like I should have said this at the beginning, so I apologize. I'm sure, like most of you, I'm fighting allergies, so apologies for my voice. I'm trying to hang on. I was trying not to talk all week. I think I made it. And yes, I see the judges have passed their score sheets back to Fahad. Wonderful. Thank you so much. All right, as I mentioned, our final undergraduate presentation is Alamatu. She is here to talk about Plastopia, and she is from the College of Engineering.
Hi. Plastic is everywhere. In the air you breathe, in the food you eat, in your blood, your lungs, and even your brain. A 2022 study published in Environmental International found microplastics in 80% of human blood samples. In 2024, researchers at the University of Vienna confirmed that these particles were also present in human brain tissue. That's not sci-fi, that's 2025. Now, imagine a world where plastic isn't just waste, but a raw material for something better. A world where the whole chair, the discarded piece of plastic, that bottle cap doesn't end up in a landfill, but on your desk in your home as something beautiful and functional. That's not just a dream, that's Plastopia. Hi, my name is Elimette Kunatier. I'm a second-year electrical and computer engineering student. Plastic doesn't disappear, it piles up. According to the United Nations, we produce over 400 million tons of plastic every year, and a shocking 91% of it is never recycled. It's easier to make new plastic than to reuse it, so companies just keep flooding the world with more. Meanwhile, sustainable alternatives are often overpriced, hard to access, or only made for the elite. The result, everyday people are stuck. They want better options, but they don't have them. At Plastopia, we believe that people don't need more guilt, they need real solutions. That's why we take plastic waste and turn it into something new, something useful, something beautiful, and something sustainable. Our products are 100% recycled and repurposed. We use plastic like HDPE from bottle caps and PP from containers, and they are affordable for everyone. Most of our products we sell under $75, and they are designed to be loved. Sustainability isn't a trend anymore. It is an economic shift. According to Nielsen IQ, 73% of global consumers say that they would change their consumption habits to reduce environmental impact. Meanwhile, the sustainable market is projected to reach 135.9 billion by 2030, as reported by Statista. At Plastopia, we get that. That's why we start with products people use every day, like our signature desk organizers that are minimal, modular, and multifunctional. And our second line products that are dorm, store, and pop-up kits with stackable displays and storage systems. But this is just the beginning. Tomorrow, Plastopia could be making furniture, smart home goods with embedded systems, and even sustainable construction materials, and with opportunities to expand to places like Africa with a virgin sustainability market. But today, we start by changing the little things so we can change everything tomorrow. Our business model is based on a circular economy model. We sell directly to our consumers via Etsy, Instagram, and our upcoming website. We also partner with eco-conscious retailers and wholesalers, and we offer corporate and businesses customization. To understand our process, we collect pre-cleaned HDPE and PP plastic from local organizations and partners. In-house, we shred and extrude it into durable and beautiful sheets. And we work with CNC fabrication houses to precisely cut, shape, and assemble the final design. Back in-house, we finish each product and fulfill the orders. Each product at Plastopia, each product sold reduces waste, raises awareness, and funds more innovation. So our go-to-market strategy, how do we get Plastopia into the hand of our consumers? First, social media domination, Instagram, TikToker, influencers, showcasing our products, community engagement, because people don't just buy products, they also buy movement, and sustainable line drop collaborations and eco campaigns, because we want to make sustainability existing, collectible, and shareable. The market today is split. We got ego luxury companies that are overpriced, and we also got low cost plastic goods that contribute to the very problem we are trying to solve. Plastopia fills the gap with affordable sustainability. Our products are customizable, and they are designed to fit real life problems. At Plastopia, we don't just make products. We are here to make a new way to think about plastic. To bring Plastopia to life, we need $75,000, 25,000 for machines, 10,000 for prototype development, 15,000 for initial production, 20,000 for marketing, branding, and promotion, and finally 5,000 for administrative setup. So how do we make money? By selling our product approximately at $60 with a 60% margin, we can make approximately $60K in year one, $96K in year two, and $144K in year three. And we also plan to reinvest in automation and our second line product by year two. So welcome to a world where plastic isn't pollution, it is potential. A world where sustainability isn't expensive, it is essential. A world where every choice we make creates a better future. If you believe that plastic waste doesn't have to be the end of the story, if you believe that the future deserves better, join us, because at Plastopia, waste becomes wonder. Thank you.
Wonderful, Alamati. Thank you so much. Excuse me. Questions from our judges?
Thank you for that presentation.
Yes.
You mentioned, I think in the last slide, 25,000 for machines and tools. Are you making the end product yourself, or are you getting a manufacturer to produce it?
So I explained the process. So how are we gonna work? We are going to source our plastic from local organizations and partners. So in-house, what we do is just making the plastic sheet. There is 100% recycled plastic sheet, so we just shred it and extrude it into sheet that we will give to our partners in the CNC fabrication houses to make our product.
You'll be recycling the plastic into the raw material and then providing that to your manufacturer. Interesting.
Make the transformation.
Great job. Another huge problem. Your slide that you had, the three solutions, I'm really curious about that. If there are a tier of solutions or three different things that you're doing, I really would love some more insights there.
Our solution slide, we are just proposing one solution, but with three benefits. Our products are 100% recycled and repurposed, and they are also designed to be loved because we are making sustainability beautiful, not just ugly, colorful stuff. And they are also affordable because we are trying to keep our product price tag under $75, which is really competitive compared to other products in the market.
And then are you guys collecting the plastic? And then are you 3D printing all these things, or can you make anything you want? Like, tell me more about that.
If we are collecting the plastic ourselves,
The products that we see right here, like, what can you make anything you want? It looks like you're almost like creating plastic stock and then making other things. Like, tell me more about that.
okay, so we are not collecting the plastic ourselves. We are getting it from local organizations and partners who already collected and clean it and everything. So we just get it from them, and we just shred and extrude the plastic into colorful and durable sheet. Yeah. Welcome.
Matsu, thank you again so much. One more big round of applause for all of our undergraduate track finalists. I'll throw myself under the bus here. As an undergrad, I was nowhere near ready to do anything like this. Okay, I see some hands, some agreement. Thank you so much. Very impressive. Thank you all so much. Our judges have passed their sheets back to our official scorekeeper. Now is my time to tell you, if one of these finalists really spoke to you, please feel free to scan the QR code and you can vote for them. There are other opportunities to vote as we get closer towards the end. So please don't think that this is your only time. And now I would like to turn our attention to our folks in the upper track. So again, this group was pulled from eligible people, and those include graduate students, alumni, faculty, and staff. I believe we have graduate students and alumni represented here today. So our first is Megan Kane and Steven with AWE. Say that right? Okay, I got it. Megan is a very recent graduate from the College of Liberal Arts, and I will let her take it away.
So, good afternoon. My name is Dr. Megan Kane, and I'm here to tell you about AWE, the AI-aware writing environment that's shaping the future of classroom AI integration. So, I'm a college writing teacher, and when my students started using AI in the classroom, I wasn't quite sure what to do. Should I encourage them to use it? Should I ban its use completely? Most importantly, I wondered, how can I keep my students writing when AI seems poised to take over that job? I did some digging and learned that I wasn't the only one with these questions. A majority of educators, both in the higher education and K-12 space, were struggling with AI integration. A lot of us were worried about AI misuse, and very few of us had received any formal training about AI implementation. I went out and talked to some more educators to get to the heart of the problem. I went to 5 events and had conversations with over 30 people, both administrators and instructors in the K-12 and higher ed space, and learned we were all struggling with this issue. And a few key pain points emerged. First, instructors felt that AI use was totally out of their control. There weren't any ways to set parameters or expectations around AI use. This led into a second concern, transparency. Instructors wanted to set clear expectations around AI, but weren't really sure where to start. And they were also concerned that sometimes students weren't being transparent about their AI use. Finally, there was a lack of trusted tools to help instructors support these issues. Instructors were leery of ChatGPT and other AI models. They did cite using Turnitin and other AI detection tools. However, these were often treated with concern given their lack of accuracy and lack of transparency themselves. The bottom line is that classroom AI integration has not gone smoothly, so I decided to do something about it. This fall, I created AWE, the AI-aware writing environment that is empowering classroom AI integration. Here's how it works. AWE is a web-based platform that lets instructors create writing assignments for their students to complete. When they create the assignments, they can also set parameters around AI use. They can completely disable AI feedback, or they can set AI feedback in line with their pedagogical goals. This could include grammar checking or more prompt-specific feedback that they direct the AI to give students. When students write in the platform, they receive feedback and see the parameters instructors have set, so their AI use is clear and ethical. AWE also enables enhanced AI detection, trying to mitigate the problem of AI misuse. After students submit writing on the platform, instructors are given a host of metrics, including an AI misuse probability score. This score is generated via our proprietary algorithm that uses both process-based features and linguistic features to calculate the probability that AI misuse has occurred in the writing assignment. It breaks down the score clearly for instructors and also directs them towards next steps to clearly communicate the issue with students and move forward correctly. The best part is that AWE integrates seamlessly into systems that instructors and students are already familiar with, like Canvas and Blackboard, so classroom integration is easy. AWE is above and beyond the only tool on the market that combines both AI detection that's enhanced, we're the only tool that has both process-based and linguistic features in our AI detection algorithm, as well as providing AI oversight and a host of other features. AWE will be priced competitively. Currently, we offer a free version that's for individual instructors and students to write and submit assignments. For institutions, we are planning to offer a licensing model that we are working to validate in pilots and currently based on market standards. This includes an annual licensing fee as well as a per-seat fee and a one-time integration fee to get AWE up and running. AWE's total obtainable market worldwide is around $8 billion. Since we're planning to target US higher ed and K-12 institutions, our realistic 5-year obtainable market is around 75 million. AWE's financial outlook is promising. Using a bootstrap model, very conservative numbers, and with key assumptions that the sales cycle will be around 9 months, we anticipate in our first year bringing 2 higher ed institutions and 3 K-12 institutions on board, generating revenue from them from these streams I mentioned. That sort of goes through a gross margin of 63%. And we expect it to scale up from there, and also these numbers to accelerate if and when we get additional funding. For our go-to-market strategy, AWE anticipates using a multi-threaded approach. We are currently interfacing with instructors and setting up classroom pilots, working from the bottom up to make those instructors our internal champions to further encourage institutional buy-in. We are also approaching instructors and administrators with purchasing power, especially at the institutions where we already have pilots set up, in order to encourage broader adoption. AWE is currently on its way to market. I'm in the process of working through and talking at conferences, showcasing this instrument to administrators and instructors. This summer, I'll also be solidifying partnerships at the K-12 level, and in the fall, I'll be rolling out pilots. I've already completed 1 successful pilot of AWE this spring, and in the fall, we'll be conducting classroom pilots with 10 instructors at 8 institutions. AWE has a clear path to launch. I'll be working on AWE full-time this summer to prepare for the fall pilots, just presented at more conferences, as well as to begin pre-seed funding. All of this is possible with our all-star team. That includes myself. I'm a proud Temple alum and currently teach writing at Seton Hall University, and my partner, Stephen, is also a Temple former alum and has extensive experience in entrepreneurship and software engineering. We're currently also looking to expand our team, making strategic decisions and hiring around enterprise sales as well as customer success to assist our founder-led sales model. We're also looking to build out our advisory board. Any funds raised from this competition and others will go to 4 key priorities, including product development and go-to-market. And finally, AWE has great exit potential. As you can see from the many exits listed up here, even in the small market of AI tools and feedback, there has been a lot of interest and a lot of M&A generated in the last 5 years, given the influx of ChatGPT and other tools. But right now, we're looking for partners to join us, people who care about writing, who want to empower teachers and support AI integration. You can check out AWE in awe.ai and contact us if you would like to learn more. Thank you very much.
Megan, thank you so much. Questions from our judges?
As somebody who's also a university writing instructor, can I pilot it?
Absolutely. Yes, please sign up.
That
Yeah.
sounds interesting.
Yeah.
I'm curious though about in
Yeah.
terms of your competitor analysis, if you've looked at a lot of the generative AI companies are coming out already with like AI tutors and different things like that, and how does that come into play?
Yes, we're very aware this is a fast-moving market. There's a lot of competitors out there. That's why we do have our proprietary algorithm. We're looking into provisional patenting for that to make sure that's protected. And we're also trying to get to market really quickly so that we can build institutional buy-in and instructor trust so that we are the tool that people turn to. I think we also have an advantage. I'm an instructor. I sort of am in the market, in the classrooms. It's a little bit different buying from someone that's an instructor than buying from a software company. So those are some of the advantages we are seeing as well.
And then just one more question, sorry, because I actually do this for a living.
Yeah.
In terms of like the feedback.
Mhm.
So for example, you had something in there that said something about like looking at the structure of the argument.
Yes.
How do I know that the AI thinks a good structured argument is the same as what I think a good structured argument is?
That's a great question. One of the things that will work with instructors is to talk through prompt engineering and to sort of talk through specifically what are you asking for and you can test it yourself on the back end, sort of see what responses it's generating and go from there to see how much you really want to trust the tool with different parts of your feedback.
Okay.
Yeah, if I could add a little bit to the earlier response, you were showing the M&A slide.
Yes.
It's a very fast moving market. And one of the interesting things we noted is that the biggest players like Turnitin
Mhm.
tend to be buyers versus builders of this new technology that's coming out. In the last 5 years, they've had 6 acquisitions. So this is a space that they're rapidly trying to gain ground in, and they're doing that through acquisition versus internal development.
Tell me about your engineering. Do you have that in-house? Are you going outside of the company? Love to learn more about that.
Yeah, so Stephen is a software engineer currently, and my background is in computational rhetoric, natural language processing. So currently we're working in-house. We're also developing a really strong partnership with the IBIT here at Temple for additional support with product development as we're working to scale. And certainly that would be something we could use funding toward in the future as we're scaling out to get more developers on board.
Thank you, Megan and Stephen. Next up in our, oh wait, sorry, hang on. You can tell Megan's an English teacher. She has lots of appendices just in case there were questions. We're gonna fly through these. She was prepared for all possible scenarios. Okay, next up in our upper track, we have a proud graduate from Klein. Sophia Whitney is here to tell us about Mermead.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Sophia Whitney, and I am the CEO and founder of Mermead. Mermead makes mead. Mead is an ancient honey-based alcohol traditionally thought of as a thing of the past, of Vikings or fictional worlds like Game of Thrones and Skyrim. I'm here today to transform mead from a drink of the past to the drink of the future with my company, Mermead. Our target market of people aged 21 to 35 are looking for alternatives to the alcohol in the market. This market is looking for a drink that's sustainable and tastes great, but doesn't break the bank while marking them as an interesting trendsetter. The drink this market is looking for is Mermead. The qualitative focus groups I conducted 2 years ago found that all 10 participants were at least somewhat satisfied or very satisfied with the taste of mead. That focus group also found that taste was one of the most important factors for alcohol purchase. Now, since then, I've done additional research into my own proprietary recipes and the market itself to ensure that there's space for Mermead in it. Luckily, the market for canned alcoholic beverages has billions of dollars of space, as it is projected to grow from $12 billion in 2024 to $38 billion by 2034. This means that our competition won't come from other mead companies. Instead, our competitors are the current lineup of beer, hard seltzers, ready-to-drink cocktails, including hard teas, and wine and cider. Though none of these options has everything the market wants the way Mermead does. Only wine and hard teas are not carbonated, a segment that continues to grow rapidly with the boom of drinks like Surfside and Noka. Mead is also the most sustainable of all these options, as it does not require farmland to produce its raw materials, which means that there's no harmful use of pesticides, fertilizers, water, or land. Mermead will be sold at $12.99 for a 4-pack, which means we can also compete with these options on price. While these are all important factors for alcohol purchase, what really sets Mermead apart is its taste. Mermead is naturally sweet, which is something that came up often as a benefit and desire of consumers in my surveys. It has a unique taste that's not quite wine, not quite beer, and not quite cider. The new research conducted December 2024 found that mead is versatile and can act as a blank canvas for flavor. And the focus group participants noted that Mermead has an air of sophistication, a smooth taste, and interesting flavors. To reach these consumers, we will start with breweries, farmers markets, restaurants, local bars and corner stores, as well as online sales through Vino Shipper and special events. After achieving consistent sales in these channels and we will, and refining supply chain logistics, we will partner with a distributor, at which point we will break into large chain retail stores like Giant, for example, and expand our distribution zone. And we will also expand our advertising and marketing to scale with demand a distributor allows. In phase one, we will primarily use owned social media, earned user-generated content, and word of mouth as the primary advertising forces. After signing with a distributor, we will launch paid social media, outdoor and influencer marketing to drive sales. Our cans will have our social handles and website where consumers can learn more about the company and purchase cans online. In the beverage industry, branding drives sales. The product has to be good, which Mermead is, but the brand has to be interesting and intriguing. Traditional mead has not been marketed super well, which is something that Mermead intends to change. Other meads are priced much higher than Mermead, as we have found ways to keep production costs low to compete with other canned alcohols. Most mead is marketed as a niche product that leans heavily into its historic roots, and no other mead is marketed to our target market of people, especially women, aged 21 to 35. We intend to reposition mead in the consumer's mind, not as a niche product, but as something that will one day be a staple in the beverage industry. It's not just mead, it's Mermead. Our projections have us profitable by 2026 and expanding into the New Jersey market by 2027. Mead is one of, if not the simplest alcohols to make, which means that the space requirements are much less than that of something like beer, for example. Our current 1,200 square foot space can sustain our growth up to 2027, at which point we will need a larger facility with larger equipment, which we can do with financing that our projections have us paying off in 2 years or less. Well, how will we get there? Well, we already have our space and our federal winery permit. We await the approval of our state wine license and our state and city health licenses, which we expect to receive by mid to late June at the latest. We have our tanks and other large equipment, and the rest of the materials, including cans and ingredients, we'll have by May, which means that Mermead is a go for launch this summer and will be on track to sign with a distributor by next year. Looking further into the future, the exit potential is strong, and in 3 to 5 years, we could be acquired by companies like Anheuser-Busch InBev, Diageo, or Molson Coors. These companies have all purchased brands in the canned alcohol segment, for example, Lone River's Ranch Water, which was founded in 2019 and purchased by Diageo in 2021. And we have the team to make this happen. I'm excited to say that the team is growing. We now have a mead industry expert guiding us and ensuring we're on the cutting edge of mead techniques and technologies. Devin Moore has been in the mead industry for over 15 years and adds a wealth of knowledge to the team. Rod Whitney, who is also my dad, has over 30 years of experience in branding and marketing and has helped me design and build this brand to capture our target audience and build something worth talking about. Amy Hoops, the Chief Commercial Officer of the Wine Group, which manages brands like Franzia and Cupcakes, sits on our advisory board. And finally, me, who is a previous BYOBB finalist, who, when I was an undergrad, who has taken that money and reinvested it in Mermead. I'm relentless in my pursuit of this company, and I have already built a team that is making Mermead a reality. To bring Mermead to market, we need $108,000, the majority of which will go towards operations, the bulk of that towards a canning machine and nitrogen doser, which will allow us to reduce unit costs per can by 36 cents. I'm also here to get the word out and network with anybody who has industry connections in the city or would be interested in investing in the future of mead. We have the formula for a great product. The last ingredient is investors like you who believe in Mermead. So invest in Mermead and help me be my own boss. Thank you.
Great job. Thank you, Sophia.
Thank you.
And, you know, if anybody wants to be a judge in the future, you know, you get some free samples, right? You know, nothing's a better pitch than that. Questions from our judges.
My only complaint is I want a full can sample versus a sip.
Got more judging.
Tastes great, and kudos to the branding. I like the brand a lot. And And apologies if this was on that one slide and I might have overlooked it, but I noticed on the can it says gluten-free. Are your competitors, any of them also gluten-free, like the White Claws and all that kind of stuff?
Yes, the White Claws are gluten-free. I believe Surfside and most ciders are. Beer is the main one that isn't, or any other malt-based beverages.
I think I'm probably dead smack in the middle of your target market. So my big question is, I know especially women looking at things like this are concerned about sugar content.
Yes.
Being that it's made from honey, how bad is the
Yes.
sugar?
So it does have quite a bit of sugar, but we're like in the semi-sweet range. So the calories are maybe higher than a Surfside or something like that, but we also are exploring ways to reduce the calories as well. But it's
Okay.
on par with a cider.
What are we talking, like grams of sugar in a can? Do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head, but we're sending out for lab analysis, and that would give us exactly.
Okay. Because I think that's something that anymore is might be a big barrier, because I think people look for that.
Yeah, I agree with the branding. It's great. I mean, I tasted it. It's great. You have a good team. You're making this now, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. How are you guys selling it now? Tell us more about that.
Not feeling it yet because I don't have my state wine license, so that would be illegal. So I'm not doing that. I'm really not doing that. I feel like that made it sound like but I'm really not doing that. I'm just making it for like home brewing use for testing purposes. So this was just a batch to test flavors because we have those 4 flagship flavors and we're testing formulas for that as well.
So your 1,200 square feet, is that like in a garage somewhere?
So that's in West Philly, actually in an old Amoroso bread factory. So that it's got the Philly pride in it. And there's also another alcohol manufacturer in there as well, Fishtown Iced Tea, if you know them. So they're right there and they're super helpful and nice.
And you guys are bootstrapped, so you haven't raised any money yet? Well, you won money previously, but.
So I won money previously, used that, and then also just using my own personal money to invest in.
How much have you invested in this total?
So the number changes every day because we're like going further and further, but so far probably like about 15,000. So we've got a bit in there. So yeah, just as we go, the money needs change, but that number is about the total of what we'll need, but it reduces as I spend more.
And when do you anticipate having the state license?
So I anticipate by mid to late June. I actually met with the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board agent, Mike, shout out Mike, earlier this morning. And so they're super helpful and nice, and really, I could get that by May, but in being cautious, I would say June at the latest.
And then I have one last question, just thinking of things like this in terms of back to my sugar question too.
Yeah.
And I just don't know how this works. Does this fall under the sugar tax in Philadelphia?
I don't think it does. I know there's a specific bubble tax, so since we're not carbonated, we avoid that. But I think the sugar might be different with alcohol.
Okay, that's what I wasn't sure of, because I was like, it's basically like soda. Anybody that drinks
Yeah.
soda is paying that tax, but okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Thank you so much. And yes, I was going to brag, a previous BYOBB submitter coming back to update on progress. So we love to see that. We also love to see our proud Fox alums pitching wonderful ideas. So Shannon is here to tell us about Potluck.
Thanks, Neil. Hi, everyone. I'd love to start off with a question. You leave work, survive your commute, swing by daycare, and then you're on the way home. What's for dinner? You end up with an empty fridge. What's for dinner? Do you piece together some leftovers? Do you try and cook something from scratch? Or do you want to order unhealthy takeout again? The answer isn't just what the food ends up on the table. It's about time, money, and stress. Meet Ashley. She's a single mom to 2 kids, trying to answer the perpetual what's for dinner question. After work, after her daycare pickup, she swings by the store to get some last-minute ingredients. Before she knows it, she's back home juggling homework help and dinner prep, and then it's time to clean up and pack tomorrow's lunches. When she's putting her kids to bed, she's drained, and she realizes that she hasn't had a single moment of quality time with her family. A few months later, Ashley learns about Potluck, a new technology from her children's daycare provider. She fills out her food profile, and she's matched with Tina, as the Potluck's algorithm recognizes that they're both single parents navigating meal planning with a dairy intolerance, and their kids go to the same daycare. Instead of struggling alone, they use Potluck to cut down on the number of weeknights they have to cook. Potluck's AI-enabled technology helps them reduce their mental load, save on energy by coordinating recipes across their food profiles, suggesting and calibrating ingredient quantities to their shopping list, and making more time for meals that matter at their home with their dinner, at the table with their kids. Now imagine this beyond just the scale of single parents. Dual income families, caregivers, retirees. Potluck matches users to batch cook and swap meals to save for time savings, variety, and connection. Finally, Potluck is a pure technology platform. All swaps are happening offline between users who agree to our terms of use. Potluck is simply facilitating matching, scheduling, and coordination, never food handling or inventory. At first, I wondered if this what's for dinner problem was something I was only struggling with, so I tested it. I launched a local pilot with Fit for Mom, a community-driven fitness group for moms, to see if Potluck could work in the real world. The results were 4.5 out of 5 overall experience rating, 1 to 2 hours of time saved per week, and a stronger sense of connection with their maps. The most unexpected result, one participant said that my kids were actually more willing to try new foods because they knew it wasn't coming from me. Finally, people want more. They're ready to swap, they want help with the planning, and they're willing to pay for a tool that will make it all easier. That's what Potluck is building, a category-defining platform that fundamentally reimagines how families feed and support one another. At first glance, people think that Potluck is just another meal kit or food delivery service, but it's more than just about one meal or one person. It's about community-powered relief from the daily dinner grind. Unlike other solutions that just solve one part of the problem, Potluck tackles it all: planning, coordination, and cooking together. So how big is this overall what's for dinner problem that we're solving? Over 50 million US adults plan and prepare meals every week. From there, we've identified 6 high-fit personas to give us a total addressable market, or serviceable addressable market, of 46 million. And we narrow in even further on our serviceable obtainable market, 13.2 million. These are people with real buying power and interest in meal solutions. We launched with a laser-focused wedge: caregivers, busy parents, and time crunch professionals, 9.5 billion of which are already feeling the pain. So how do we scale trust in a peer-to-peer model, especially when food is involved? We start where, as we learned with the Fit for Mom pilot, we start where trust already exists: food, community centers, faith groups, schools, daycares. We expand into the Seattle and DC markets once we reach 2,000 active users in our Philadelphia pilot market. This bi-coastal approach helps us build traction in family-focused regions and gives us a strategic foothold on the West Coast for national scale. Oops. Potluck's revenue model has a built-in revenue stream, a predictable revenue from year 1, with B2C subscriptions starting at an average of $10 per user per subscriber a month. In year 2, we unlock affiliate commissions with retail partnerships focusing on in-app links to products. And then we launch our corporate licensing stream in year 3, $7 per employee per month for employer licensing. We expand our retail partnerships in year 4 with grocery store integrations, and then we unlock the tech and data moat in year 5, aggregated insights on meal trends for retailers, meal kit providers, and CPG brands. So how does this growth translate into numbers? By year 3, we project nearly 9,000 paid subscribers and 1.4 million in annual revenue. While we do anticipate a negative EBITDA of 19% in year 3, we have a clear path to break even in year 4 as our fixed costs stabilize and our B2B revenue grows. We've laid the groundwork, and now we're asking for $750,000 to accelerate Potluck from pilot and prototype to a scalable platform. To date, I've invested over $64,000 into Potluck through a combination of financial out-of-pocket and hundreds of hours of sweat equity to give us the validation of market, the proof of concept, and build our brand and de-risk our next step. So why am I the right founder to build Potluck? Potluck isn't just a business idea, it's a mission born out of necessity. As a working parent juggling my career and caregiving, I live the pain points that Potluck is built to solve. But beyond my lived experience, I bring the execution skills and the network to make this happen. I advise caregiving-focused organizations and benefit providers, giving us direct access to HR leaders and insights into how companies evaluate wellness tools. On the tech side of things, Potluck is part of Women Defining AI's App Seedlings program, which gives us the infrastructure to grow. And finally, while I've gotten us this far solo, I know I can't scale it alone. So one of my first moves is to find a technical founder and launch that search. When it comes to comparable acquisition activity in this space, we see strategic moves like Uber acquired Drizzly, Wonder acquiring both Grubhub and Tastemade. So we see organizations that are investing in wellness, behavior change, and family life as natural fits down the line. Potluck isn't just a platform, it's a movement. We're living in a time when the what's for dinner question carries more weight than ever. Just like Airbnb and Uber reimagined travel and transportation, Potluck is reimagining mealtime. Potluck's time has come, and I hope you'll join us in building the future of mealtime together. Thank you.
Shannon, thank you so much. Questions from our judges?
Thank you. I noticed you said in one of the next phases, Seattle and DC would be the cities. Why are those the locations?
So those were chosen mainly because they have family-focused activity, and the demographics of those aligned with the target market of our constituent or our target market. So thinking about families, neighborhood density, and overall ages.
And also, I was curious, how do you handle like issues? And by issues, someone gets food poisoning.
Sure.
Someone has poorly seasoned food, and I don't want it. Like,
totally.
What's going on?
No, I mean, it's a valid concern. I think to go back to the point of like, it's everything is happening through the offline of the swapping of food. There will, of course, be a customer complaint and customer support function. And I have some ideas of how we can address that down in the future. Maybe DoorDash gift cards as like a sorry someone messed up your meal. But I think in terms of the immediate disappointment with that, we're going to have user ratings. So like similar to Uber, you're going to have a rating of how well cooked was your food, or how aligned were you with this individual.
I'm curious about the target market.
Yes.
As someone who chose to stay single and child-free, but who also lacks time.
Yes.
I didn't feel myself seen in that.
Oh, really? Okay.
I saw divorcees, retirees.
Okay. So I'm glad you bring this up, because so Ashley, our person at the beginning, she's a single mom. I actually see this as I see this more for single parents than actually dual income families, because I think single parents are often told, oh, we'll just share it with your partner. Share the load, share the, make the meals, split it between the two of you. Well, if you don't have a partner, if you're a single parent, or even a single adult, you don't have that, person to split that responsibility with. So you turn to your community. It's about building like that village back up, and also making it more of like a connection point than like a daily dinner grind.
Okay, I might
tweak that.
Think through just kind of, the busy working adult. Just because
Sure.
even when I said that, you went to single parent.
Sure.
Not a parent.
Got it.
And then I had one other question too, just knowing Philadelphia, right?
Yes.
City of neighborhoods.
Yes.
Honestly, I think in a lot of communities, this is already happening.
Sure.
Just based on people talking to each other.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Like I live in a building with 500 apartments.
Sure.
What's to stop people from saying, okay, I just found my circle. I'm not going to pay anymore. I'm just going to operate with these 5 people.
Absolutely. I love that you asked that. So 77% of apps actually lose their subscribers within 3 days, except for when you build in connection, social connection, and routine. So Potluck tackles both of those things. So with the and also, if we're going to step out and look at the dinner problem as a whole, we have, the conception, what's for dinner, what do I have, what kind of ingredients do I have on hand to make it, planning, do I have to go to the store, go get stuff, and execution. So you're talking about the execution part, about swapping with everything else. Potluck is helping you with the conception and planning, as well as the execution, because it's making that introduction.
Thank you so much,
Great.
Shannon.
All right. Thank you.
Right. Last but certainly not least, we have Ben Huang, who is a current Fox graduate student, who is here to talk to us about Tiresias.
Thank you. Hey guys, we are Tiresias and I'm Benjamin. Our product is an AI agent to empower your supply chain. So firstly, we need to understand about what's going on or the problem the supply chain face now. So firstly, the supply chain are frigid and reactive. Secondly, it's deadline cost million loss in revenue. So in 2021, the semiconductor industry faced, because of the shortage, they faced about 200 million loss in their revenue. And additionally, the third one is a company's lack of tool to detect the external signal like a market sentiment about to use this kind of data to modify their supply chain. So based on the problem, we make some survey and we use we get 25 survey from the management from manufacturing industry. So this is what we found. We found 70% of them are their annually revenue over 2 million and 2/3 are interested of our product. And additionally, this is what we found in their pain point. So firstly, it's manually they need use manually to detect the risk now. And secondly, it didn't have an early stage warning system to detect the supply chain risk. And third one is they don't have the tool to understand what kind of supply chain risk is a priority. And fourth one is the first one is for the market demand. And then this is opportunity validation. And so in the market currently, it didn't have a 24/7 warning system, and the existing tool they are complex and cost a lot. Additionally, it's reactive. So this is our solution of our this overview of our solution. Firstly, we'll detect the sentiment and news in real time. Additionally, we'll map the supplier, which supplier is important. And third one is we'll calculate a dynamic risk score. So it's the risk score is dynamic. And the fourth one, will deliver the alert for the different supplier. And so this is why we're unique. Our AI agent have a 24/7 to scan, assess, or to flag the threat. And additionally, we don't need ERP, so we can only we detect the risk by our software, and we don't need ERP to deploy. And so third one is we are lightweight. And fourth one is our model combined with news and market sentiment such as that. So this is our prototype. You can see we use apple to illustrate our idea, but you can switch the apple to like banana or a pineapple such as that. And in the supplier is apple supplier, so you can switch the supplier in your own brand. So you can see in this one, the ASE technology have highest risk score in the Apple supply chain. The ASE technology is the semiconductor packaging. So which means it have lots of factory in the China or East Asia. It will have high tariff maybe a few days later. And then GLW is Corning, the risk score is lower than ASE and TSMC, of course. And so after you understand ASE have the highest risk score, then you may want to know why ASE technology have highest risk score. So in this picture, we can see ASE have highest risk because from their financial situation is 23%, and their market sentiment, it means like tariff or such as that, about 70% in their risk. So Apple can make a decision to change the ASE or not. And this is after you understand ASE face high risk, then you maybe want to switch to other suppliers. So we'll list the alternative supplier. So it's with these three suppliers, and the third one have highest risk because all the factories in China, you will charge for high tariff. Okay, so based on our prototype and the market, we need to understand about who's our RTA. So firstly, is their brand have a complicated supply chain, and secondly, is mid to regional manufacturer because the big brand they have the IT department to develop sophisticated software, and then the third one is the supply chain team. So this is market opportunity. First one is global supply chain risk management will have 20 billion in the next 10 years, and in this market, it have a 50% compound annually growth rate. And in United States, it have 1.1 million institutions that their annually revenue is over 1 million, which means this kind of company, they will have ability to afford our product. So this is our roadmap. We assume we can finish our MVP verify in this year's Q4 and the module optimized in the 2026 Q1 and start to launch revenue in 2026 Q2. So to compare to other competitor, our product is we use real-time sentiment and we don't need ERP, and we will least the supplier importance and then SME friendly. So this is our financial forecast. We can see which assume that we'll start to earn money in 2026, that in the second half of the year, and our charge will be 1,500 per month and charge annually. So we assume we'll have 10 clients in 2026 and have 20 clients in 2027. So this is our management team. So we have Serena Wu, outstanding CTO. He's the member in HKN, and I'm Benjamin. I'm working in WorkCloud and have the application startup with the social enterprise inside. And meanwhile, we develop the tourism application. So I'm sophisticated in the SaaS startup. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Questions from our judges?
Good job. So who is your customer? Who buys this?
So our customer is, you mean current customer who buy this already, or?
So this is a supply chain risk management software that somebody would buy that is participating in the supply chain, right? So who do you sell this software to?
Okay, we try to stop this software to the manufacturer industry, especially the business when which their annually revenue over 1 million.
Do you have anything about your code? It's purely a software platform, right? There's no hardware. Is there anything? Do you have any views on a moat and patentability, something that you can protect with your software?
Can you repeat that again? Sorry.
The intellectual property in your software, are you doing anything different that your competitors aren't doing at all that you can guard your intellectual property strategy?
Okay, so compared to other or current academic research, we try to use a different model to merge the market sentiment and other score from like the stock price or such as that, try to merge it and achieve the highest accuracy. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much. Let's give it one more round of applause for all of our upper track finalists. Here's where I tell you, though, this is your last chance to scan for the People's Choice Award. We'll be closing voting shortly. So if you need to, you can scan that QR code. All right. I am now going to invite Professor Alan Kersner up to the microphone, and he is going to introduce the next portion of our evening.
Okay, so the Self-Made and Making Others Award is given each year to an individual who makes a major contribution to the surrounding entrepreneurial community and to Temple University. And this award is going this year to Ellen Weber. A little, there she is. Everyone's looking back for you. So long before anyone was talking about inclusiveness of new venture funding or leveling the playing field for underrepresented groups, Ellen was out there espousing the need to fund female entrepreneurs, those of color, and those in the LGBTQ community. Ellen has been director of a leading angel venture group in Philadelphia, Robinhood, for 25 years. She started when she was 7. And she has also been executive director of Temple's Mid-Atlantic Diamond Ventures since 2014. Ellen was executive director here in the IEI from 2014 to 2020 and is indirectly responsible for me being here now, although I doubt she lists that as one of her better accomplishments. In recognition of all that Ellen has done, she was named one of the 100 most influential people in the Philadelphia area business community from 2017 to 2019, and is now appropriately the winner of the Self-Made and Making Others Award. Congratulations, Ellen. Very well deserved. And now Carly Steinberg, who is soon to graduate with a master's in innovation management and entrepreneurship. For the past year, she's been a great intern and student worker, and also a star Temple soccer player. We'll talk to Ellen about her successes and her advice for all of us. Carly?
Thank you, Al. Hello, it's dead.
It's dead.
We need another.
Okay.
One
Grab another mic. 1 second. I'm gonna go wrap them up.
All right, guys, 1 second. We got a deadline.
Can you hear me? So I'm usually in that other room with the judges trying to make these fateful decisions. So this is kind of fun. Thanks for having me here.
We could just pass for now. Thank you, Alan, for the intro. And Ellen, congratulations on the award, and thanks for joining me today. We're also happy to have you here. Let's dive in. Tell me a bit about your journey. What first drew you into the world of entrepreneurship and investing?
So I was always interested in innovation. From the time I was a very little kid, I was always asking why, creating new things, very creative. So of course, when I went to college, I studied finance and accounting. And that was the last time I did something that wasn't really resonant. It was what they call a should, as opposed to what I really wanted to do. So I learned. Not that there's anything wrong with finance and accounting, but it wasn't me. And so I worked for Accenture for a number of years, and then I went to work for this fabulous company called Shared Medical Systems. We were one of the first healthcare technology companies, and we did a lot of innovative things. And I'll tell you, one of the fabulous things about that company is they had the best culture you could ever imagine. So those of you who are in a position, who are thinking about creating companies someday, think about the culture from the very first moment. People would have done anything that CEO asked us to do. It was just a fabulous culture. Anyways, but fast forward a number of years later, and I decided, while I loved working there, I had some kids, I wanted some more flexibility in schedule and just in time. And so I started a consulting firm with another colleague and focused on innovation. And then at the same time, two close friends of mine started an angel group, and they asked me to, and I said, oh, it's so fun. Let me tag along. Let me help. Let me see what I can do. And 25 years later, I'm still there. At the same time, I got the entrepreneurial bug. I started working with entrepreneurs and innovators. And then I even had my own startup for about 4 or 5 years. Finally, I came here to Temple, and all the time I was doing all these different things, I was still working at Robinhood Ventures. So always keeping, always staying involved. But then I had 6 great years here at Temple working with fabulous people, including, Carl and Alan and some others I see in the room. So that was kind of my journey.
Thank you. Yeah, that's really inspiring journey and incredible to hear. I'm sure through that journey, you've worked with a lot of students, entrepreneurs, and investors. What would you say are some of the most valuable lessons you've taken away? And what should we, as students, be thinking about as we go out into the world and start shaping our own path?
So I don't see any of my actual students in the room, but one of the, oh, there we go. Thank you. But one of the things I used to do, we would be talking about something and I would go, oh, it's life lesson time. And, it was everything from, I realized my students didn't all know how to do their own budgets. Well, you can't be an entrepreneur if you can't manage your own budget, right? So we stopped the class and we did budgets, right? And so, anyway, so I had some life lessons I taught. So one is always to ask questions of everybody. You never know what you're going to learn. And then listen and listen and listen more than you talk, and listen to hear people's why. Seek out experts. There's no better time than when you're in school to pick up the phone or send an email and say, hey, I'm a student at Temple and I'm really interested in learning more about the field. Can I get 15 minutes with you to learn more? I don't think there's anyone who will say no to a Temple student calling to say, I want to learn something from you. So take advantage of that. Always follow up too. If you say to someone, yeah, I'll send, if someone says, I'm interested in seeing your deck, send the deck, or whatever it is that you say you're going to do it right away. On the business side, cash is king. Know your own financials, know your company's financials. Make sure you know that you're thinking about cash all the time, both personally for you and your company. And I guess, my last one is just always be true to yourself. But sometimes when you're starting out, you don't know what that means. So I would say explore what your passions are and what you're good at, and then figure out, like test. You're going to test if you're in a startup, but you're always testing things as you're starting out in your career. I learned early on, I was a terrible programmer. I started in programming. It's terrible, but I was really good at helping people figure out how to use the systems. So you test and you test and you test.
Yeah, and I think that those are great things that not only can we apply today, but are really true life lessons, like you said, that we can hold on to. I kind of want to shift gears a little bit. The finalists that pitched here today, at some point, they had to take that leap, right? Of taking what was once maybe a seed of an idea and making it into what it is today. What advice would you have maybe to anyone in the audience who has that idea, but is maybe hesitant to take that first step?
Right. Well, you have to take the first step. And I know that sounds obvious, but you have to do it. So talk to people, tell them what you're thinking about, get their advice. Would you use this thing that I'm thinking about? But I would also tell you that sometimes you don't have the idea, you want to do something, you want to be up here, but you don't know what that idea is. A colleague of mine said he always walked around with a notebook. Now that can be a virtual notebook or a paper notebook, but every time he saw something that could be done better, he'd write it down. Or anytime he would stop in his tracks and go, oh, that gave me an idea, he would write it down. Looking back 10 or 15 years later, he missed, there were some big things he missed, like he kind of had an idea for Spotify. So a lot of it's execution. It's not just having the idea, but write everything down and explore and be curious. But you do have to take that leap. So, take a class, go to a workshop, play with it. Just play with the idea. Now, you can practice with small ideas. That was also like a thing I used to do in class. You start with a small idea or a small ask, and then you build yourself up to something bigger. So, when you're a freshman in school, you may not have a lot of life experience. So your ideas really just track to, what that's right in front of you. As you gain more life experience, the ideas get bigger. So always be looking at what the opportunities might be.
Yeah, I think that's great advice, especially sometimes because taking that first step might be the hardest part for some people. So thank you for that. And
I'd love to go back to something that you and I had spoken about previously, and as many can see here, you've taken on some really impressive leadership roles throughout your career. How were you able to manage and balance it all?
Well, you can't balance it all. Just like you have to take that first step, you can't balance it all. The idea of that was a big thing, when I, a number of years ago, that you can have it all, or, work-life balance. There's really no such thing. What I think about it is, is sometimes some priorities are higher than others. And the question is, what's the most important thing I should be working on right at this moment that will advance the objectives and make sure nothing else is falling along the way? So that includes kids. And one of the best stories I ever heard, I heard the CEO of Avon tell the story about how she looked at work-life balance, and she thought about who would know that she wasn't there. So she was invited to, this was back when Bush was in the White House, and she was invited to speak at the White House to the president. The same day, it was her daughter's first day of school, first grade, right? And she said, 20 years from now, George Bush is not going to remember that I was in the room, but my daughter will remember that I forgot her first day of school, right? On the other hand, there was a time where she had to be at a board meeting, and it was, one of her kids' birthday parties, and she was able to, she found her way into a quiet room, did the board call, because she knew the board would know that she wasn't there, and her daughter would not really notice in the middle of the hubbub that she wasn't. So you kind of, so from a work-life balance, you do those kind of things.
Yeah, and I think I love your mindset, and I think that's a fresh perspective for a lot of us to hear. I want to dive really into your time here teaching at Temple as well. I'm curious, and I feel like I got to ask, are there any stories or any Temple entrepreneurs that really stood out to you, or maybe you look back and you're like, wow, that was really something special?
There's so many of them. And if you haven't taken the time to walk around this room and out there at all the different people, they're incredible. I mean, wow. I'm going to cry a little bit looking over there. I don't know if you know her story, but the most amazing entrepreneur. There's a lot of great people all around here. But I'm going to talk about a few that I really have such a strong memory of, and each for a different reason. The first woman is she was an MBA student named Jordana Barmish. She's a bit of a non-traditional student. She was a bit older, had an occupational therapy degree, but she knew she wanted to do something creative and innovative, and she didn't know what. And thank goodness to Janice Campbell. Janice identified that she had this interest and kind of matched us up. And I was talking to Jordana. I had just started at Temple, completely overwhelmed. I was supposed to be taking over MADV, and I was just telling Jordana a little bit about that. She goes, I'll help you. She said, that's a great way to learn. And she did. And she was such an amazing help. And then over time, she spent a lot, she spent her time counseling entrepreneurs. She's been an entrepreneur herself. She's just really amazing. Another one, there's a picture of him somewhere in here, I think in the back, Nick Delmonico from Stratus Lab. So the thing I loved about Nick, he was, another student of mine. He leveraged every class he took to work on his business plan. And he won business plan competitions everywhere. He won from his undergrad, from his grad, from different events in town. But he leveraged the brains of his whole class, right? In every single class. He would manage to make sure that his company was, you always have projects. He made sure his project was always the one selected, and he'd have 5 really smart students plus experts, different professors helping him on his company. He's done really some really amazing things. My third story. I don't know if any of you have ever met Jesse DeLaura, but okay, but Jesse is a guy who not only did he never take no for an answer, he didn't ask, and he just never asked. And there's an expression: it's easier to get forgiveness than to get permission. I completely subscribe to that. So Jesse was always pushing the limits. He was a terrible student. He knows I say that about him all the time. From a grade perspective, he was terrible, but he just absorbed everything and applied it to what he knew. And he pushed my limits. I don't know how he passed the class, but you know, he negotiated with me, and there was that part of the class was about negotiation. So okay, Jesse, you learned the lesson. You should pass. But one of the things I loved about him, he's kind of famous with the Angel Venture Fair, which is a big event. He asked very last minute, could he present? And he was told, it was one of the few times I ever heard him ask, he was told no. So he shows up the day of the Angel Venture Fair with all his materials as if he'd been invited. And the guy who runs the Angel Venture Fair was totally ticked off. And like, I told you, I told you you weren't invited to present. You didn't go through all the steps. And Jesse kind of went, I'll wait. Well, someone didn't show up to present.
Wow.
So guess who gets to present? And guess who someone made a very big deal of? You'll never believe the story. I told this guy, so that the guy who ran the event told the whole story. And, so he not only got to present, but everybody in the room remembered him. So he really stands out to me.
That's amazing. I love that story. And you've obviously worked with a lot of students, and you also work with some amazing investors. So you kind of see both sides of it. And you've probably seen a lot of pitches.
A lot of pitches.
What, in your eyes, makes a strong pitch? And what are some of the things that you think investors are really looking for?
Well, so there's, at a very high level, we're looking at three things. We're looking at people, we're looking at the market, and we're looking at the product. And generally in that order, because the product may change, but you're looking at, does this person have what it takes to execute and drive the company? But we're looking at a big opportunity. We are looking at someone who really understands their domain. We are looking at someone who understands who the competition is and what's really special, what the value proposition is, what makes them unique. We're looking at a big market size. We're looking at the financials. Do the financials make sense? Are the terms reasonable? And then does the whole story stick together? So if you were saying you're going to do a big direct-to-consumer market play and you didn't have any marketing dollars in your budget, there's something wrong there, right? And so we're looking for all of that to hang together. We're looking at an entrepreneur who knows how to assemble the right people, who knows how to listen, but who can take in advice and figure out what makes sense and what doesn't make sense, and is really able to convey and condense down their message in a way that investors can understand it and get excited about it.
Thank you, Ellen. I think those are really good points, especially for anyone looking to maybe one day pitch. I do want to turn it over to you guys. If you guys have any questions, and do some Q&A. So if you have a question, raise your hand. We'll hand over the mic. No questions? We got one.
From one of my other favorites that I didn't mention. Hey, Steve.
Do you have any favorite stories from your many years at Robinhood? Any entrepreneurs or companies, good, bad, ugly, interesting, just something that you want to share?
Oh, gosh. I mean, there's so many of them. I think, one of the biggest things is when you're presenting, don't be a jerk. So, you say, so I can think of two different people, right? We had one person who came in to present. The whole time he's presenting, now people don't carry change anymore, but he was playing with the change in his pocket, right? And then someone asked him a question about, and he was saying that he was a very successful serial entrepreneur. So he made it sound like he'd made a lot of money. And so someone said, well, how much money are you putting in the company? He goes, well, I'm not putting any money in the company. My wife would never let me do that. And so he lost us right there. And he felt very inauthentic. And it turned out he was a very inauthentic person. And we lost a lot of money with him. And I wish that change, that I wish some of those clues had clued us in. But so now I know, I see someone doing that. On the other hand, we had sometimes, so we had an entrepreneur presenting to us, and he was in the middle of his pitch, fire alarm goes off. Can you imagine, right? And because it's not easy to get a room full of investors together. And so the fire alarm goes off. Now he could have stewed about it. He could have gotten upset. He could have gotten all nervous and everything. What does he do? He goes out in the parking lot with us and he walks to each person, shakes their hand, tells them a little bit about the company. He used his time so effectively. And our perspective coming back from that presentation was, if this guy can do that well in the middle of, a fire alarm, think what he's going to do when a real fire alarm hits, right? And he, and so we invested in that company.
Hello, my name is Andrew. My question is, what do you think are the main topics when trying to explain a new concept or like a new market to maybe different generations of people?
Yep.
Something that every generation can relate to, not really mattering what type of market it is or if it's a new concept or an old concept.
So there's a few things on that. One is you can use, I know there's an English professor in here. I may get it wrong. I think it's a simile. This is like this for this, right? That's a really helpful thing to do to help get through. Because if I'm understanding, the question is, how do you help someone who doesn't necessarily understand what you're talking about get it, right? So this is like this for this. One of the best examples I ever heard was there's something called Mohs technology, which helps manage mole skin cancer. And a doctor in the room said, it's like a deli slicer for moles. And everyone went, oh, okay, we get it, right? So that's one thing. I would also tell you to practice your explanation of what you do to your 4-year-old nephew and your 80-year-old grandmother. And if they both get it, you've got something that anyone will understand. And it's really important that you not focus on how smart you are and every single detail, but what you want to do is explain it well enough and succinctly enough that the person then comes back with questions, okay? That's your goal. You don't want to tell them everything up front. You want them to come back to you with questions.
Hi, congratulations on your award.
Thank you.
So I'm sure there's many, but if you could maybe think of one that just comes up a lot, what are some blind spots for an entrepreneur who's starting up? Like what are some things that you see commonly that people just miss or just are blind to?
I think some blind spots are always overestimating revenue and underestimating, the cost that it takes to start the business. That's a big blind spot. I think now, I come from a perspective of, angel investors and VC, but not every company should go for venture capital or for investors. And so a huge blind spot is I'm only successful if I raise money. So I think it's very important to really think about, is this the kind of business that will interest investors, and is this kind of business that you should be raising money for? So I think that's a big blind spot. It's time.
Yes. Thank you guys for your questions. Ellen, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. I know we all really appreciated it. So thank you. And everyone, let's give Ellen one big round of applause.
Thank you so much.
All right, wonderful. I see our finalists making their way back into the green room. So thank you so much for doing that. Jen, if I could have your assistants up here, that would be great. Yes, you, Jen. Yeah, you. Oh, no, I know you have two. I meant Jen Tran. Yes, I did mean Jen Tran. I will call Jennifer up in just a second. So one more round of applause for all of our undergraduate track finalists and our upper track finalists. You all were not allowed to be in the deliberation room, understandably, but all of our judges had wonderful things to say. We're very impressed. And it was a tough decision, but we did arrive at some awards decisions, which we will get to in just a second. But first, I do want to give out some of our sponsored awards. And is Munir here? I don't think he made it back from his event over across the way, but he did let me know ahead of time. Jen, this is maybe where I, if you wouldn't mind just taking that off. So the Digital Innovation Award is given to LB Vision. All right, we'll see. This is why I need help up here. All right, next up we have the Global Innovation Award. Unfortunately, our partners from Cyber had some other obligations tonight, and also unfortunately, the winner that they picked was not able to make it. But I am pleased to announce that Deep Flow, which is one of our submitters, is receiving the Global Innovation Award. We will contact them afterwards, but round of applause for Deep Flow. Glad they could be here. And now I would like to invite Jennifer up to speak about the award.
Hi, so I've seen a lot of you over at my Blackstone office, and so I'm really glad to see you all here. One of the things that we do is we also work with the Innovation Nest, which is an awesome space that's full of really high-tech conference rooms. We have great event space. We have incubation offices, wet labs. We also have the tech commercialization offices. So when all you geniuses are ready to commercialize your ideas, come and see me and I can hook you up with that. One of the programs that we work with is the I-Corps program. It is funded by the National Science Foundation, and it really helps companies to grow their businesses. So this year, I'm really happy to present the I-Corps Award to Eunice Shu. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right. The Access and Opportunity Award, which was sponsored by the Center, I always mess their acronym up, so I need to read it. The Center for Ethics, Diversity, and Workplace Culture. That award is going to the Daisy Bidet, and I believe that Tom is still here. Congratulations, Tom. So a little peek behind the curtain for our sponsored awards. They had the opportunity to select, yes, from our finalists, but also from our entire applicant pool because our applicants had the opportunity to offer additional submissions. And so that's why some of the awards that you saw this evening for the sponsored awards were not necessarily folks that gave their pitches, but this was based on their written submission. So thank you again to all of our sponsors. I think we are now moving into the awards that you all voted on. And so I am pleased to announce that the People's Choice Award this year is going to Mermead. Thank you so much. And now we are moving into our different tracks. We will go fourth place to first place and then reveal the grand prize winner. So fourth place in the undergraduate track is No Title. Congratulations. Fourth place in the upper track is going to Tiresias. Moving on to third place in the undergraduate track is going to LB Vision. Third place in the upper track is going to Potluck. Right, moving on. Second place in the undergraduate track is going to Plastopia. Wonderful, wonderful. Second place in the upper track is going to Mermead. Right, we're almost there. First place in the undergraduate track goes to Barricade. Which means that first place in the upper track goes to AAWE. And I will just have you folks stay right here because AAWE is also our grand prize winner. One more round of applause for all of our submitters, our judges, our volunteers, everybody. Thank you all for attending. I think there is, I see Carl, Alan, you met, who was speaking out. Is Jeff still here? I don't know if I see Jeff or not. We are some of the staff and faculty that make up the IEI. And so if you are interested in getting involved with us as a mentor, as a potential judge, a potential reviewer, please come find one of us. We would love to chat with you. I don't know if you can tell this, but we maybe ordered a bit too much food. Sorry to our budgets, but please take some home with you. And without anything else, I'm looking around, I'm not seeing one more big thank you. We have a group of student workers here, some of whom you met, some of whom you saw behind the scenes, or maybe didn't see. I want to give them a big round of applause. This is not an easy event to pull off, and we could not do it without their help. So Carly, Jen, Kate, Jane, and Fahad, thank you all so much. And with that, I will end our evening together. Thank you all. We look forward to seeing you next academic year.